The revelation that you will spend the rest of your life in prison, or at least a substantial portion of your best years, is without a doubt devastating. Although a life sentence is frequently the result of a severe crime, not everyone who received this sentence handles it in the same way. Even if the severity of the punishment is justified, the emotional and psychological toll of confronting such a bleak future cannot be understated. Hello everyone, and welcome to another video. Today we'll be looking at the most savage teenagers reacting to life sentences. Yeah, you heard it right. Alan McCarty was dragged away. Alan McCarty Jr. was initially brought before the court for a custody dispute. Then, he threatened a magistrate with death. Regardless, his initial problems grew substantially worse, and his threat, along with threats against attorneys, including the unborn child of one, resulted in a 20-year prison term. Unsurprisingly, hearing the terrible news caused McCarty to lose his cool once more. He had to be dragged out of the room after cursing at the court, calling the judge a liar, and using ethnic slurs. Seth Welch and his wife were destroyed by the wind. Seth Welch and Tatiana Fusari were found guilty of starving to death their 10-month-old daughter. The video of their sentencing hearing went viral as it shows the couple standing side by side while a judge explains off camera that the punishment is life in prison without the possibility of parole. As Fusari begins to weep, Welch's jaw drops and a look of complete and utter astonishment crosses his face, as if he had no idea that the punishment for such a crime could be severe. Michael Swanson laughed and smiled. Michael Swanson was 18 years old when he stood trial for double homicide. First, he murdered a store clerk during a robbery, and then he committed the same offense elsewhere. Swanson laughed upon his conviction. The condemned adolescent began to smile as the judge informed Swanson that he would spend the rest of his life in prison. The judge threatened to grant him even more time, although this threat would not have carried that much weight. Shondell Jackson had to be pepper sprayed. Jackson became incensed when he learned that he would spend the rest of his life in prison for murdering Nathan Potter. He cursed the family of the victim and the judge. He was required to be subdued by court officers and pepper sprayed. Inexplicably, Jackson's family also cursed the victim's family as if they were to blame for the crime. Dexter Johnson threw a chair. In 2007, when Dexter Johnson was sentenced to death, the courtroom disintegrated. At the age of 19, Johnson already had an established criminal career, but the murder and rape of Maria Aparici and a crime spree with accomplices that resulted in the deaths of two others were the final straw. As he lashed out, Johnson threw a chair and had to be subdued by court officials, while others in the room shrieked, passed out, and had to be transported by ambulance. The execution of Johnson has been postponed until 2019 while courts investigate claims that he has an intellectual disability. TJ Lane wore a t-shirt with killer on it. TJ Lane matches the profile of a cold-blooded killer. In a school attack, the 18-year-old was convicted of killing 3 and injuring 3 others. Lane was sentenced to life in prison while donning a homemade t-shirt with the word killer written in black marker. At one point during the trial, he whirled around in his chair to address the families of his victims, made an offensive proclamation, and then gave them all the finger. Erica Mae Butts screamed and hyperventilated. Erica Mae Butts and Shanita Latrice Cunningham stood trial for the murder of a 3-year-old child that they had been watching. While Cunningham pleaded guilty, Butts submitted an Alford plea, which meant she maintained her innocence, but admitted that she would likely be convicted if she went to trial. When the judge sentenced the two to life in prison, they likely expected some leniency, but received none. Butts had a complete courtroom breakdown when the judge read her sentence. She wailed, fell to the ground, and hyperventilated. Cunningham collapsed in the interim and had to be wheeled out of the courtroom. Dancer Wright thought it was a joke. During murder trials, families and loved ones of the victims frequently read impact statements. In the case of Dancer Wright, the family of murdered 18-year-old Jordan Klee expressed their emotions during the defendant's sentencing hearing. While the accused murderer smiled and had to restrain himself from laughing, Wright addressed the court following the impact hearing and assured his family that he would be home soon. Instead, he was sentenced to between 25 and 50 years for the crime. So that's all for today's video. If you enjoyed it, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell icon so that you never miss our upcoming videos. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section down below. Stay tuned, and we'll catch you in the next video.